Hello and welcome to the Well Child Show. Speaking about this work, to actually start speaking for children, then hello and welcome to the Well Child Show. About this work, to actually start speaking for children, then hello and welcome to the Well Child Show. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Well Child Show, brought to you by Global Child Health and Safety Initiative. My name is Kemak Onyemichea, your host. Today on the show, we're looking at the topic Raising Confident Girls. It's a great day to discuss this topic, being that we're right in the middle of the 16 days of activism, aptly tagged Orange Your World. I have a guest in the studio with me who will help us do justice to this topic, but I'm going to take a breather and I hope you're still around when I return. Don't go away. About this work, to actually start speaking for children, then hello and welcome to the Well Child Show. Hello and welcome to the Well Child Show. Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, you're watching the Well Child Show with Kemak, brought to you by Global Child Health and Safety Initiative. On the show today, the topic is Raising Confident Girls. And I have with me in the studio Folashade Efiong-Bassey. She's an emotional intelligence certified professional, as well as a management and human resources expert. She also has ample experience working with children in the educational sector. Currently, she sits on the board of Nigeria's leading IT/tech company, IPNX Nigeria Limited, as the Group Executive Director, HR and Corporate Services. Folashade is mother to 3 adult children. Join me in welcoming my dear friend, Folashade Efiong-Bassey.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you so much for being on the show today.
I'm so honored to be here.
Thank you very much. So we're looking at raising confident girls.
Yes.
And it's really apt because we're in the middle of the campaign against gender-based violence. And I believe this plays a critical role.
Yes.
In the future life, decisions and options that our children are faced with. So can you just explain in your own words exactly what confidence means?
Okay. Once again, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. It's my pleasure and privilege. I would say that in my own definition, a confident girl is a child who is comfortable with who she is, where she is, and also where she's going to. She doesn't have all the answers, but she's comfortable with learning about herself. She's comfortable to be herself, to be authentic. She's comfortable to be courageous, and she has been started on the journey, whether consciously or inadvertently. She has been started on the journey of understanding how to navigate her own decisions through life. And this is applicable even to a 9-year-old as much as it is to a 17-year-old. So I would describe that as the roots of confidence.
That's brilliant. Because most of the time when we talk about confident women or empowering women, there's this feeling of threat that most men, I don't want to be biased because I'm a man, but there's this threat or this feeling of defense that a lot of men put up. So can we say does confidence mean arrogance?
Certainly not.
Or is it basically, like you said, just a belief in oneself?
Yes, it is.
An understanding of the value that one brings to the table?
Yes, that's
so
what I would
in that sense, we can say it's actually safe and it works better to imbue confidence in our girl children?
Oh, certainly, because it is, I mean, I'm sure you've heard of the saying that if you raise a girl child, you're raising a generation, or you're raising the world. So a girl child who is confident to take the right decisions and make the right choices in life will certainly pass that on to her children and the society and the environment around her. And we have to understand that we have a duty to ensure that we're talking about the girl child now, for all children, but for the girl child, we have a duty to ensure that the best they have to offer to life, to the world, we help them to bring that out. So it's our duty and obligation as parents, as caregivers, as educators, as teachers, as you know, in the environment, and spiritual leaders, to help the girl child bring out the best of these qualities, because they actually change the world. I was reading a story about Marie Curie. She won the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1906 or something like that. And let me quickly tell you about the story, because it struck me. It was quite inspiring. So she won the Nobel Prize. Not only was she the first female to win the prize, she was the first person to win 2 Nobel Prizes in distinct sciences. The interesting thing was that when her husband, she and her husband actually co-won one of the awards, yes. He was also a physicist, a scientist. And when he was nominated alone. But he turned down the nomination. He said if his wife wasn't included in that award, he wasn't going to collect it, because most of the research, or some of the research, before the scientists tell me no, that's not exactly what happened, but some of the research was hers. And I found that very striking. So I decided to walk back, and I found out that her parents were educators. They were Polish educators, and they believed in the value of learning, especially or including the girl child. So they went out of their way to make sure she got a good education, at great threat to themselves and even the child, because you know it really was frowned upon at that time. But you know what? Her child, Irene, went on to become a Nobel Prize winner as well. And Irene's sister, up till a few years ago, was still on the French, on the board, an advisory board to the French government. She was also a scientist. So you see the powerful choice in empowering this girl. It had so much impact on the world, because the strides, the invention on radioactivity, or the research on radioactivity and X-rays, she personally saved over 1 million, you know, she was credited with saving over 1 million soldiers during the war, and so on and so forth. So it has trickled down. Now, if you look at Albert Einstein, I mean, it is alleged, it's very controversial, but it's alleged that his wife actually also did some of the work with him, but we don't hear anything about her. And if you go down that generation, you really don't hear anything thereafter. Yes.
So it's safe to say that when you empower a man, you empower an individual.
Yes.
But when you empower a woman, you empower a generation.
I would say so.
And it's brilliant that you mentioned talking about the marriage between Marie Curie and her husband.
Yes.
And how the husband helped to empower her as a scientist.
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit about the role that fathers particularly play, or the power that fathers and father figures have to help imbue confidence in their girl children?
I would say that because the father is the first, or the father figure is the first symbol of authority that the child is introduced to, it is likely that the child will be looking up to that person, the father. And if the father is able to set practices that encourage the confidence and the true nature of being of this girl child, then certainly it's an easier journey than having to go and get it from peers wrongfully, or waiting until the age of 17, 18, 19 to step out and then go get it from some other father figure somewhere. So if the child is if there is conscious parenting from the father in terms of understanding the child, helping the child build confidence, awareness of their abilities, helping the child take decisions. And when I say decisions, I don't mean big life decisions, but even as a child, what are you going to wear today? Why do you want to wear this? Allowing the child to make little choices and decisions like that, it builds the confidence of the child. And you steer them to consider the consequences or the alternatives of whatever little decision they're taking, and then that is what they continue to build on. So a father reinforcing this and helping the child to understand that you're loved, you're precious, you're important, you have dignity, I value your opinion, your decisions, your thinking. It goes a long way into helping to build a strong and confident child who is able to withstand or resist wrong peer pressure.
Well, now speaking about the relationship in the home, would you say that the relationship between the father and the mother in the home has some surreptitious or obvious effects on the confidence of the girl child?
Certainly. Children thrive where there is harmony, empathy, connection, and love. And I believe this is why some enlightened parents who, even though they're not on good terms, try to shield their children from that, because that's the smartest thing to do. Anything else is self-defeating to the parents. You don't bring a child in and then expose the child to any toxicity between you and your partner. So when there's connection and empathy and love, and the father is walking the talk with his wife or with the mother, then the child learns from that. We know that children learn by watching. They reflect what you do. They don't really learn by what you tell them alone. They actually watch your actions. So certainly I would say that a positive relationship between mother and father will certainly reinforce that positive relationship that the child has with other people and within herself.
No, that's excellent. Okay, now as an HR consultant,
yes, ma'am,
what are some of the core skills that you think parents should, imbue in their children, particularly the girl child, that can make her grow up to be a strong, confident woman?
Well, I hope we'll have enough time. I will try to quickly run through some of those things. First of all, I would say very strongly that if a parent has to first of all look inward, right, understand psychology, if possible, if necessary, actually go for courses on psychology and development, because you're talking about a human being. The fact that you're a parent does not actually qualify. The fact that you give birth to someone does not actually qualify you to bring up that person, in the right way. So you actually may need some help. The second thing is to look inward, right, to say, okay, I'm going to be deliberate and conscious about the way I'm parenting my child, because I have a long-term objective, which is to bring up a member of society that is adding value and is contributing and is doing okay. So curiosity is something that I would say parents have to teach their children, because the learning curiosity is a skill, and it is something that is sought after in the workplace. Curiosity leads to passion, and passion leads to productivity and focus and all those things. So right from childhood, the child is trying to touch something, you don't knock his hand off and say, don't touch it, or asks you a question and you say, you're asking me too many questions. You say, you try and answer the questions, and then you show the child how to look for answers to the questions. Children are not too young to begin to learn how to research. I remember from a very young age, my father introduced us to Encyclopedia Britannica in those days. And that was what we were chewing. So right from a very young age, your child knows, okay, if I don't know the answer to something, I have a source to go to. Emotional intelligence is another thing that a girl child needs, because she needs to be aware of her feelings. You need to be able to help her name feelings, and you need to also help her mirror those feelings. So I notice this is happening to you. Are you feeling, you might be feeling anxious, you know, or you're joyous, your eyes are sparkling, something good happens today. You help her name the feelings, and then you help her navigate through the different kinds of feelings, so she understands how to deliberately choose the emotional response that will serve her in any circumstance or situation, because she knows she has a long-term goal at every point in time. Confidence, we talked about confidence. Resilience is very important. Children, especially the female child, you know, has quite a lot of different distractions and expectations, which may be puzzling because they are reflections of society on the child. There are studies that have said that from the age of 9, the girl child actually begins to lose confidence in herself, and her opinion is now based on what society is reflecting, what role models are reflecting, what she's seeing on TV and all that. And resilience is needed, which is the ability to recover from an unpleasant situation that has not gone the way you want, the ability to stand the test of time, to have courage. We've talked about emotional intelligence, resilience, courage, I call it selfhood, self-love. The child needs to have self-awareness. This is who I am. This is who I can become. I don't need to follow the crowd. I don't need to expose my body to be accepted. I have a bigger goal in mind, and I'm going to get there. And the child needs to say, whoever I am, I love myself the way I am. I don't have to look a particular way, or have particular features, or hang out, or conform. Yes, or hang out with some particular crowd. I have a different path. So selfhood, and then also learning how to be gentle. You know, the teen years are very emotional. So you fall in public, or you say something wrong and you want to kill yourself, and then you help the child understand it's not the end of life. My daughter always says, I ask myself, is this thing going to be important to me in the next 2 years?
Wow.
No, it's not. Life goes on. So those are some of the skills that parents have to teach the girl child.
Wow, I have first-hand experience, the excellent job you've done bringing up your children.
Thank you so much.
So it's really germane. It's a no-brainer that you're a part of the show today.
Thank you so much.
We're going to go on a quick break.
Okay.
When I come back, we'll talk a bit on emotional intelligence.
Okay.
Because I know that's a core area of specialty for you.
All right.
You're still watching the Well Child Show with Kemak. We're going to go on a quick break. When we return, the Well Child Show continues. Please don't go away. About work, the actually starting for children. Therefore, there is a comprehensive thing. Hello and welcome to the Well Child Show. You're welcome back. It's still the Well Child Show, and my name is Kemak Onyenuchea. Thank you for staying with us. I have in the studio a dear friend and sister, Folashade Efiong-Bassey. She's an HR expert and a management consultant, as well as an emotional intelligence certified professional. Thank you, Folashade, and you're welcome back.
Thank you.
All right, before we went from the break, we were talking about the age of loss of confidence.
Yes.
Research has shown that at the age of 9, most girls begin to lose confidence.
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit on why that is observed to happen?
So this study was done in the 90s, and it's been
ongoing,
and the results don't vary. It's the same thing. From the age of 9, 10, I think, because there are changes in the body of the girl child, she begins to be aware of her body, and things like cover up. You can't run anymore like that because you're a girl. You know, she has to deal with the onset of puberty. You know, it's time for you to stay with your mother and learn how to cook, because you're going to have to be a wife and a mother. And so she begins to see limitations. I can't do this anymore. I can't explore the maximum potential that I have. It is fine if the child's desire or ambition is to be a cook, for instance. That's fine. That's perfect. But if there's so much more out there for the girl child to do. I mean, we're talking about, this is the era of STEM courses, science, technology, engineering, and maths, and you want to introduce the girl child at an early age to all these concepts. Pulling her away and locking her up in the kitchen is really not what is going to help her explore the fullest of her potentials. So I think that at that time, their attention is away from their accomplishments to this is who you have to be. Expectations from without, from the society, from the mother, who obviously has to do a good job in trying to bring up a gentle, a lady, and not a tomboy or someone who's running all over the place. So from that, from the media glorifies, you know, a particular kind of woman, a particular kind of body type, and so at that time she understands, oh, I have acne, I have spots, my face doesn't look that way, and that's why teenagers spend so much money on cosmetics and facial stuff, trying to look like somebody looks on TV. So at that point in time, if they do not get the understanding, they're going through lots of emotions they cannot name. Remember, we talked about teaching them how to name emotions, and that they're transient. When they can't name that, they can't talk to their parents, because if the parent is not, you know, practicing conscious parenting, the parent is seeing is not seeing the child for who the child is, who the girl child, or what they expect the child to be. Many times parents think children are their fantasies, and that is not what it is. A child is an entity you're being given stewardship over and responsibility for. So I think those are some of the reasons why. So obviously when you're looking at and comparing, certainly you're not going to look as beautiful as a 12 or 13-year-old as someone who's made up on TV. So they're going to suffer loss of confidence. And if that is not taken care of at home, they go on with that, and then they begin to seek for acceptance elsewhere, and it just goes on like that.
Wow, we're running out of time, but I want you to look in the camera and give a final word to parents. You know, you mentioned something that is really touchy, how parents want to vicariously live out their dreams through their children. What word of advice do you have for parents out there?
I would say that if you allow your child to be who she was born to be, with all the full potential, she would definitely go beyond the expectations that you have for her. You don't need to live your lives through your children, through the girl child specifically.
Thank you so much, Folashade, for being on the show.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, so as always, the conversation continues across our social media platforms. You can hook up with us on YouTube at our channel, that's Well Child TV, and on Instagram at The Well Child Show and Global Child Health. Also, we have a lot of resources on Facebook at Global Child Health and Safety Initiative. And for speaking engagements or consulting opportunities, you can send us an email to info.wellchildshow@gmail.com. Thank you so much for being a part of the show today. And as I sign out, I want you to remember, child health and safety is everybody's business. Be good to the woman out there. We say no to gender-based violence. We say no to sexual and other forms of abuse against women and the girl child. It's our duty to protect every girl and every woman around. Be good, and I'll see you next week on another edition of The Well Child Show. Goodbye and God bless you.